Yo, book nerds, right off the bat, let me apologize if I sound congested. I'm not sick. My allergies have been horrible this week. Like, just completely have slammed me. I don't know why. All the pollen counts say that it's low, but there's been, like wildfires and stuff up in Canada and whatnot, and I'm in Minnesota, and there's definitely been a haze hanging over our town. So I don't know if it's from that or what it is, but Zyrtec has been saving my life, but I still am struggling a little bit here, even with the allergy meds. So I apologize for that. But I did finish reading One for the Murphys by Lynda Mullaly Hunt. I chose to read this book because my 7th graders have this book as a book club option for one of our book club units, and I really liked this book. It is a very deep look into the emotions of a middle schooler in the foster care system. It is definitely heavier material, I would say, but not too heavy for middle schoolers. This book is about Carly Connors, and she is in the foster care system. Her stepdad beat her up. She has a very complex relationship with her mother, and I think this book really portrays what it feels like to have mixed emotions and mixed feelings. And Carly has super mixed feelings about her mother, and she is now staying with the Murphys, and the Murphys could not be more different from what her home life was like. And I think this book was just beautifully written. It's easy, but it's deep. I did have some problems with it, but nothing that would make it a bad book. It is a very good book. It's middle grade, but I think adults would enjoy it. I enjoyed it. So if you need a book that's just an easy read, pick this up. I flew through it. A couple issues I did have with it, though. I'm not very familiar with how the foster care system works, and so I'm not sure if this is an accurate representation of the legal side of things, of how social workers interact, and I just don't know, because I'm not in that world. I've never looked into it, so I can't say for sure. I feel like it might simplify certain things and skim over other legality issues, but I'm not positive. So that's really the only flaw or concern I have about this book. The other thing I want to say about this book, though, is I feel like sometimes it's almost too happy ending. It's not quite a happy ending. I want to get into spoilers in a little bit, but I just want to say that I understand that kids in real life in the foster care system probably have it a lot worse than Carly. Maybe some don't, but for sure some have it worse. And so I don't really know how else to say it. It's not making light of the situation, but it's probably more hopeful and happy than some would experience in the current foster care system, if that makes sense. But again, overall, really enjoyed the book and recommend it. Carly is a very interesting character as well. She is obsessed with numbers and words, and I don't know if I don't feel like she's on the spectrum per se, but maybe she is. But maybe it's an OCD thing. Maybe it's a strategy that she was taught to cope with things. I'm not really sure. They don't really explain that in the book. You could take it a few different ways, but I thought it was a very interesting character trait. She's always counting things. She's always noticing patterns. She's always noticing the way words are spelled and similarities between this word and that word, and making these connections in her mind. And I really thought it was interesting being inside of Carly's head. I think also back to the complexity that this book shows, like the way Carly handles her emotions, like, and the way it's portrayed is really well crafted. Carly does not want to go back with her mom, but yet at the same time, she loves her mom and can't imagine life without her. And yet Carly wants to stay with the Murphys. She wants to be adopted by them. And again, she feels this loyalty to her mom at the same time. And it's really well done, I feel. I also enjoyed the chapter titles. This author has some very interesting chapter titles. Like chapter 5 is titled, I Should Have Licked the Anthill. Like, it's just, it adds some humor into the book. Chapter 6 is titled Let Us Pray, like lettuce that you eat. Chapter 8, Wake Up and Smell the Apple Juice. Chapter 12, Thou Art a Wingnut. I just thought that they were fun and interesting, and they didn't spoil things, which I often feel like chapter titles do spoil things, but the chapter titles didn't really spoil the chapter, but they were crafted in such a way that it just, I liked it and it makes sense and it was humorous sometimes. And like chapter 31, if you're going to lie to yourself, be convincing. Some of them weren't humorous, some of them are hard-hitting lessons. I just, I enjoyed the chapter titles. It was refreshing to have some good chapter titles. If you're gonna do it right. And this was done right. All right, now I want to get into a little bit more of the spoilers, so just be aware, spoiler alert. But oh my gosh, the scene towards the end of the book where Carly asks Mrs. Murphy if she can call her mom, that part broke my heart, because you can tell that Mrs. Murphy, Julie, wants to say yes, but she knows that Carly is not going to be staying there, that she has to go back to her mom eventually. There's this misconception in the world that fostering leads to adoption, which in some cases it does, but most of the time fostering kids means the goal is to get them back with their family. Fostering is temporary, hopefully. Is it always? No, and it can be long term. But for many kids in the foster care system, they're not up for adoption. The goal is to hopefully get them back with their family. And Julie knows that Carly will be going back to be with her mom. So she says no, she doesn't think it would be healthy for Carly to call her mom. And that just broke my heart, because Carly feels like she doesn't have a mom, really, a true mother, the love of a true mother, the love that Julie gives her boys, her biological children. Carly doesn't feel that love from her own mother, and it just, it breaks my heart. There's a paragraph that just captures it, and it breaks my heart. I feel so sad I can hardly stomach it. Mrs. Murphy didn't mean to, but she taught me what I'll never have. Brought me to the candy store and given me just a taste. Just enough that I'll always know what I'm missing. And those kids, always watching them live here, the knowledge that I'm not loved like her kids are. Not by her and not by my own mother. I have to remember, I must. Don't forget your place. Don't forget who you really are. Oh my gosh. The fact that there are children in the world that don't have the love that a mother should give them breaks my heart so much. I also really liked this line. Carly's talking about being afraid. She's thinking about college, actually, someday going to college in the future. And she says, can I imagine myself doing that? I'm afraid to think of the future. And then I think of Daniel, who's her foster brother, one of Julie's biological sons. How I stood in the driveway giving him a speech on courage about being afraid and doing it anyway. Because you can't score points if you don't take shots. So a little basketball reference, but she is talking about being scared and doing it anyway. And when I connected with that, because when I was going back to school and doing my student teaching and going for my master's, like all of this scared me. Starting my job as a teacher, like all of this scared me, but that was kind of my mantra. I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it scared. And I just really connected with that. And I think that's a great message for kids, because obviously this book is geared towards kids, but it's a great message for adults. It's a great message for kids. I really liked that. The ending does have Carly going back with her mom, and it's not a perfect ending. Like, it's not great. Like, Carly's not excited about leaving the Murphys. She's heartbroken. So it's kind of a heartbreaking ending, but it's more realistic, I feel like. If the book had ended with Carly being adopted by the Murphys and living this fairy tale happy ending, I just feel like that wouldn't ring true to most foster kids' experiences, right? Like, I feel like this is a more realistic ending. Carly doesn't get to stay in the fairy tale. She comes back to the real world. It's sad, but it's more realistic, I feel. But it does end hopeful. Carly knows that happiness can be possible for her. She's seen it. She's lived it now with the Murphys. She has this goal of, like, I am going to be happy in my life. I may not be where I want to be right now, but someday I can get what I want. I can be happy and be loved, and it's going to be okay. And I love that hopeful message too. I really did enjoy this book overall. I have thought about being a foster parent. I have thought about this for years, but things always come up that hinder it. Like, you can't have just moved or changed jobs or gone through a divorce and or had a baby and like within such a time frame, at least that where I live, like, you can't be having these huge life events within a certain window of time before you become a foster parent. So there's always been like impediments. So I haven't really looked into it much, but it is something that weighs on my heart that I would like to do someday, is be a foster parent. And I've heard people say, like, oh, I couldn't be a foster parent because it's so sad. You fall in love with these kids and then you have to give them away. And I'm like, but that's exactly why you should do it, because there's so many people that are foster parents that are just doing it for the wrong reasons, that don't actually care about the kids. And we need people that care, that will fall in love with these kids and suffer that heartbreak, to give them a little glimpse, like Carly got in this book, like a little glimpse of what love is, because maybe they don't have that. And like, it's hard, and like, I still want to do it, and I hope someday that I can. And I encourage other families to, other adults, to consider being a foster parent. We need people who care, like Julie Murphy. We need people who care to do this hard thing, to take care of these kids, to show them love. So anyway, back to the book. Like, I really like this, highly recommend it. I can't wait for my students to read it this coming year. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts on it. If you know more about the foster care system, like obviously mine's a very surface level understanding, please share in the comments. Please enlighten me, teach others. Tell me if the book's pretty accurate or not. Like, I don't know that. I just don't have the knowledge base to critique the book on that level. But let's chat more in the comments. This was the last book on my summer TBR, so it's too soon for me to be thinking about fall. Like, I'm not putting out my fall TBR yet. But I did start reading a book, because I'm gonna be reading something until fall. I started Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I have never read this. I am so excited to be reading this. This will be my 4th Austen novel. I'm so excited. I'm on chapter 3, so I'm like not anywhere in it. I just started it yesterday. But I am super duper excited to be reading Jane Austen again. It's been a couple years, and I can't wait to dive back into her writing. She's one of my favorite authors. So a review for this will be coming once I finish it. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a lovely week. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for talking books with me.